Scientific studies show that your brain registers the emotional pain of heartbreak in the same way as physical pain. No wonder you want to let go. The grief is manifesting as physical pain, as well as playing mental movies of this person over and over again in your head, asking questions about why or how it could have happened to you, sometimes blaming yourself, sometimes blaming them. Luckily, there's no self to blame or self to forgive, because that self is made only of thought. What's up, conscious creators? Alex here. In this video, we're going to be talking about letting go of someone you love, and specifically how to detach and move on so you can arrive back at inner peace, open up the next chapter of your life, and actually use this experience to spiritually awaken yourself. Let's first understand, why are we attached? What causes the attachment in the first place? Why do we get so disturbed when a person leaves? Why do we end up lost in thoughts about what was, unable to move on? Let me first say that a breakup is going to be painful to some extent for the vast majority of people. Even if you've been through multiple breakups or you've been meditating for years to develop a sense of equanimity, relationships have a powerful ability to create a sense of personal loss. However, what often happens is we end up lost in thoughts about the relationship, lost in thoughts about what was, and we feel a sense of worthlessness, guilt, remorse, or shame. And then it takes longer to detach and move on. You get stuck in the past, reviewing the whole thing over and over again in your head. This happens when we invest our peace or happiness into a relationship. There was a personal need for this person or situation to be a certain way. There was a personal need for a particular outcome. You were attached to the outcome. And this can actually creep in insidiously and surprise you. A desire for a relationship can start off as an innocent, impersonal desire. You're quite happy on your own, this person comes into your life, and then over time the attachment creeps in. The old wounds and anxieties start to bubble to the surface, and before you know it, the relationship breaks down and triggers a whole bunch of old traumas. You see, there's a misconception about detachment. A lot of people imagine that it must be some kind of emotionless or unfeeling state. You just don't care and you just don't feel. But actually, the opposite is true. Non-attachment or detachment means you're willing to feel. You're not resisting the feelings that are triggered by the expansion and contraction of a relationship. You're wide open to experiencing them so you can heal them. Are you heartbroken? Well, the question is, are you going to let this and every other heartbreak you experience break you down or break you open? You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. Thich Nhat Hanh. And they're free when you're not psychologically attached to them anymore, when your inner peace and happiness isn't dependent on them anymore. You might still be feeling a whole ton of feelings, but you're willing to. You know it's part of the healing. And if there's any chance of you two coming back together again, it will be after you've let go. Because that's the thing about letting go. It allows the same thing or something better to flow into your life. And it's often the attachment that's keeping the thing or the person at bay. Or it's the attachment that's stopping something from falling away, that's no longer a match for your path of growth and isn't appropriate for you anymore and doesn't really serve you anymore. So, how can you free yourself and free the other person at the same time? How can you actually use this situation to spiritually awaken? Well, what really is spiritual awakening? I know there are many interpretations, but I suggest that this is the real heart of it. Awakening from the dream that you're a limited, separate person, awakening to your true self. There's a belief that we are the ego, the belief that we are the sense of self in our thinking. And we often get lost in our thinking. And when it comes to breakups and heartbreak and loss, these are times that trigger some of the most intense mind attacks in your life. You feel uncomfortable sensations and pain in your body, and these thoughts about what was playing through the whole situation in your mind, and it feels impossible to ignore. But what if, instead of seeing these thoughts and feelings as the enemy, we actually saw them as a signpost? A signpost that points the way back home, a signpost that says, wake up. And you wake up from this dream of thought into now, into reality. Instead of being lost in thoughts about the situation, you awaken from those thoughts and you come back to your senses, come back to what you can see, hear, taste, smell, touch, and these feelings in your body. Because this is often why we find it so hard to let go, detach, and move on. There's been an unwillingness to feel these feelings. There's been a resistance to the feelings. The feelings manifest as physical sensations in your body. You may feel a tightness or density in your head, chest or neck or gut. The mind might label these sensations as completely uncomfortable. The question is, can you be open enough to go there? Can you be open enough to feel these sensations, to be the awareness, the silent watcher that sees these sensations and allows them to be there, dropping the resistance to them, allowing them to be there? And it's in this dropping of the resistance, this openness, this allowing, that a kind of relaxation follows. If you do this in a place where you feel safe and able to, you might even shed a few tears, or maybe you don't. It can be different for everybody depending on what you're letting go of and the particular energies that are bound up with it. Letting go is the release of a contraction, and when that contraction releases, a release of energy from the body comes with it in various forms, like sighing, crying, trembling, or tingling sensations. And when you let go, when you release, there's a relaxation that goes along with it, and you arrive at deeper inner peace. Instead of believing you're a personal sense of self in your thinking, in your mind, trying to find happiness in a person or situation, can you wake back up? Wake back up to your true self, the one who's aware of the thinking, the aware spaciousness in which the thinking appears, and in which these feelings appear. And you just allow the thoughts and the feelings to be there, being knowingly the awareness in which they appear, allowing the thoughts to dance and change and morph and often just drift out of view whilst you stay with the feeling, dropping any resistance to it, allowing it to be there, seeing what happens next. And as you stay knowingly this awareness, you find you don't need to let go, because you find this awareness to already be unattached. It's already at peace. It doesn't need another person to be whole or fulfilled. It already is inherently whole and fulfilled. Yes, you might be experiencing some very intense pain right now. I've been there, breakup pain that feels like you're being tortured from the inside out. But there's a blessing in it too. It can be your grace. It can humble the hell out of you and bring you back to your authentic self. You have the chance to unattach and discover who you really are. You have the power to allow the other person to be truly free, so they or someone more appropriate for the next chapter of your life eventually flows back in. And this time, you learn how to be your natural detached self, a more confident, authentic self. Not independent, but interdependent. And that concludes the video. I hope this video helped. Learning non-attachment, authentic self-confidence, and the ability to flow. This is what we work on in my one-on-one coaching program. It's for you if you want to overcome specific challenges in areas like this, want to end anxieties holding you back from your true self and taking efficient action on what means most to you. Go to speaktoalex.com to book a free call with me or one of my team about overcoming your challenges if that interests you. See you in the next video.